Dyslexia is a neurobiological learning disability that disrupts how your brain processes written language. People with dyslexia have trouble with reading and other literacy skills. While dyslexia can make reading more challenging, with proper instruction, almost all individuals with dyslexia can learn to read effectively. Dyslexia is a neurological condition caused by a different wiring of our brain. There is no cure for dyslexia, so people with dyslexia must learn coping strategies. Research indicates that dyslexia has no relationship with intelligence, suggesting that individuals with dyslexia are neither more nor less intelligent than the general population. Some research even shows that the way people with dyslexia think can be an asset in achieving success. Teachers need to provide students with systematic and explicit instruction based on an understanding of language structure and phonics. Educators need to provide structured literacy instruction, which is systematic and cumulative. Systematic means that the organization of material and curriculum follows the logical order of the language. The sequence needs to begin with the easiest and most basic concepts and elements and then progress methodically to more difficult concepts and elements. Cumulative means each step needs to be based on the concepts that they previously learned. Teachers also need to provide explicit instruction that requires deliberate teaching of all concepts to occur with continuous student-teacher interaction. Teachers cannot assume that students will naturally understand the concepts on their own. The teacher needs to use diagnostic teaching. They need to be adept at individualized instruction. The instruction needs to meet individual students' needs. The instruction should be based on careful and continuous informal and formal assessments. The content presented needs to be mastered to the point of automaticity, which is essential for students to be proficient in comprehension and expression. Dyslexia can be traced back to the mid-1800s when scientists began discussing the existence of disabilities, though the term learning disability was not used until 1963, when Dr. Samuel Kirk used the term in his work that was centered around children with minimal brain dysfunction. The term learning disability shifted the focus to language, reading, and processing information. In 1877, the German neurologist Adolf Kussmaul referred to dyslexia as complete text blindness. A decade later, Rudolf Berlin used the term dyslexia to encompass reading challenges because of a disability. Interest in dyslexia fell for several years, but then returned in early 1960s. Neurologist McDonald Critchley and psychologist Tim Miles opened the Word Blindness Center in 1962. This center brought many researchers together who had worked with dyslexic individuals. Critchley later published a book called The Dyslexic Child. In 1968, the first definition of dyslexia was developed at Scottish Rite Hospital for Children in Dallas, Texas. They defined it as a disorder characterized by difficulty in learning to read that was not improved with conventional instruction, despite adequate intelligence and sociocultural opportunities. It is dependent upon fundamental cognitive disabilities, which are frequently of constitutional origin. In 1972, researcher Sandhya Naidu published a book that was one of the first major studies of dyslexia. It was called Specific Dyslexia. Her book, along with Critchley's, was a turning point in dyslexia research. Dyslexic children experience reading and spelling difficulties, but sometimes there is more to it. Motor coordination, organization, and the ability to concentrate are often affected. These children may appear to be uncoordinated and unorganized. There is no link between dyslexia and intelligence, and people with dyslexia can achieve great success. With the help of assistive technology tools, people diagnosed with dyslexia and other learning disabilities can adjust and lead normal lives. Federal laws that define special education services help raise awareness and research on dyslexia. Parents of children with learning disabilities like dyslexia have more rights to hold schools accountable to offer services for those students who learn differently. The state of Texas requires universal dyslexia screening, evidence based literacy interventions, and ongoing teacher training in structured literacy practices. The Beckley-Wilson Act of 2021 requires the Texas Education Agency to develop a comprehensive framework for dyslexia screening, intervention, and training for educators. It calls for timely evaluations of students who are suspected of having dyslexia or related disorder and ensures the provision of appropriate interventions. It emphasizes the importance of evidence-based practices in teaching students with dyslexia. A resource to support reading and writing development of students with dyslexia is the International Dyslexia Association website. There are helpful tools, tips, videos, and other resources to help teachers in their classrooms build reading and writing skills in students with dyslexia. Another resource for families to assist students with dyslexia in developing reading and writing skills is the understood.org website. This resource has valuable resources for families because it gives them a clear explanation of what dyslexia is and how it affects their child. It also provides resources for families to help their child at home to support their education in the classroom.